Hello everyone, back with you for another video. This is the video that I hinted at that with my uncle. I know that a few of you have mentioned that you've seen my uncle's videos, and a couple of people have subbed to him. I want to thank Rob Blackstar Vinyl for his support of both of our channels. Soldier777, and I know Value Vinyl Steve said to give a shout out to Uncle Doug on a comment he made on my video talking about your channel. But we're gonna have a little question and answer thing here where we talk about our interest in music, YouTube, on down the line. So, without any further ado,
it's been a long time. We used to do discussions like this as kids on cassettes, and I thought it would be kind of interesting to do one on video.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in YouTube videos like this?
Well, I've been, of course, since I've discovered YouTube, I don't remember when, I've been, going through and trying to find videos on many different subjects that interested me. And I ran across the channel. The channel name is Vinylizer. His name is John. And real nice guy, lives over in the Channel Islands on the island of Guernsey. And he, in his videos, discussed, music that was right up my alley. The 1980s rock and that type of thing. He showed an extensive vinyl collection. And he referenced this thing called a vinyl community. And I thought, if I was going to make videos on YouTube, music would probably be what I'd talk about the bulk of the time, since that's one of my biggest passions and hobbies on down the line. But I don't have any vinyl. But John's videos, also interested me in looking at re-examining and revisiting owning vinyl. So I got the turntable I have now and things of that nature. And it's been almost a year since I uploaded my first video. And at that time I didn't have a turntable, but I did buy a couple records from a store a few blocks from here called Record Head. And I remember showing those vinyls on my first video. But, now, since I've been seeing more and more people's videos in this community, and not too long after discovering John's videos is when I discovered Peach's videos. And when I found out he lived in Wisconsin, I thought, ooh, this could be a good outlet, Mm-hmm. And I've discovered more and more people's channel, and more people are gearing towards now calling this more of a music community than a vinyl community, because there are some people who exclusively collect CDs.
And CDs, I still have cassettes.
Yeah, and there's a member on here named Dan who's very big on cassettes.
I hear you talk about different bands. Is there one that sticks out to you the most?
Well, I would say for the last 20-25 years, a band that I've been most interested, a band that I've considered to be my favorite, and seen dozens of times in concert. Have a good bulk of their albums on both vinyl, some on vinyl and some on CD, is the Scorpions. I remember back late 80s seeing one of their music videos on MTV for a song, and I bought that particular cassette for the song, which was called The Rhythm of Love, on their Savage Amusement album. And I explored the rest of that album and ended up liking it. And another thing that drew me to the Scorpions also is, and I've mentioned this on my channel before, is ever since studying World War II in school, I've had an interest in Germany. And I've discovered more of our German heritage from the Boffer family.
Yeah.
And so I've always had an interest in Germany. And the fact that they were from Germany and I liked the sound of them drew me to them more. Mm-hmm. So after that one album, I started exploring other albums, and it just took off from there. I remember, and I've mentioned this on my channel before, this was 4 or 5 years after the fact, but I bought their 1984 release called Love at First Sting. And on that album, there's a song called Coming Home, where it talks about feeling at home on stage and, the energy of a live performance and everything. And that
being in a live performance, and I need to say this, the first rock and roll concert I ever went to was with you.
Yeah, the Striper to Hell with the Devil tour 1987.
Yep. I never seen anything like that before. And that really opened my eyes to what music could really do. I mean, not just in the faith-based movement like the music that I like, but in any type of music, it can really be uplifting.
Yeah. I've been given so many different, I've had so many different emotions invoked by many types of music, whether it be faith-based or not. Mm-hmm. Like there are things that there are songs that make me think about when I play these songs. There are times I think about sharing those songs with my dad and us discussing those songs. A lot of Petrus,
new friends.
Yeah, a lot of Petrus songs.
Even on, videos like what you've discovered here, a lot of people love music, and it gives you an avenue to meet new friends. And I think you're experiencing that, and you've shown me that in your videos, and so I could come and start my own channel.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, John, who lives over in Guernsey, of course, never met face-to-face. We've talked on Facebook and commented in each other's videos, but we consider each other friends. And John was real gracious in me when I agreed to buy some of his record collection that he was willing to sell. He threw in 2 other records just out of the goodness of his heart. And, all the gifts people have given me since I've been on this it's just been staggering. I mean, getting those from him in Guernsey, somebody in Scotland, somebody in Canada, and of course, Peaches, I mean, he's gone above and beyond anything I expected by sending me all the records he does. Fellow Wisconsinite.
I can tell because I know you, that you really appreciate all of these things, and I can tell that this really means a lot to you. Mm-hmm. And music does mean a lot to myself as well. I think it's just an amazing thing that music, not just rock and roll or whatever kind of music it is, as they say, soothes the savage beast, which we are sometimes.
Yeah, and it's amazing too, finding out what other connections I've had with people out that doesn't have to do with music.
Right.
There's a man up in, Steve, forgive me, I think you live in Maine. His channel is Value Vinyl. Come to find out, he was born and raised in Holland, Michigan.
Wow.
Where I spent some of my childhood.
Yeah.
So Steve and I have that Michigan connection. There's another guy, Chris. His channel name is Dude 1973. We miss you, Chris. By the way, should make some more videos. He's from he lives in the Detroit area, so we have that Michigan connection.
And you used to live in that area yourself.
Yep, and it's been interesting to see, how, again, never meeting these people face to face, how much you get to know somebody over YouTube.
Yeah. I really appreciate the shout out you gave to me and the encouragement. And I hope that as we go along, we can do this again.
Yeah. And like I said, the whole process, and you're aware of it, it starts out small and then it grows. And like some of the people that, like John, his channel has like 1,000 subscribers.
Wow.
And I'm not too sure how long he's been doing it, but he's been at it for a few years. And another friend of mine, Mike, is celebrating hitting 500. He's doing a drawing or a competition with his subscribers, where he's gonna has 2 records for people to win in this drawing. And I've done one of those myself, and I'm going to be doing one of those competitions again shortly, as we're coming up on my year anniversary of beginning my channel.
That's one
in a couple of weeks.
A good reason for me to come up here as well, to ask you some of these questions. I think some of them may not know why you started. Is there a song throughout all your rock history that you love the most?
Well, I'll go back to that song by the Scorpions, Coming Home. It talks, like I said, it talks about feeling home on stage, the energy that the crowd gives them. And I've mentioned on this channel before, I was at my cousin Matt's in Michigan. We had gone out for a movie and dinner, and I bought that cassette. And we got home that night. I'm laying in a sleeping bag in his room with my headphones on, listening to this cassette, and that song came on, and that got me so pumped up. It was all I could do to keep calm enough not to wake him up. And it was at that time I'm like, yeah, I like this band and I want to see them live now. And it wasn't until a few years after that
you
actually got a chance to. But I kind of waiting as long, with bated breath, like I was before. We went to that first Striper show with them. My first experience with rock music, as I mentioned, was Petra, as far as live.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, one of the records that Peaches gave me is not from the concert I attended, but a recording of concerts from that tour.
Ah.
And I, matter of fact, it was talking with somebody through the Salvation Army that we knew from another town that happened to be at the concert and had seats right in front of us. So we were talking with them a little bit and was talking about, just discovering this quote unquote Christian rock. It's just, to me, it's rock with Christian lyrics.
Right.
And, so we were talking about all the bands, and one of the bands that for some reason I hadn't heard of at that time that he mentioned was Stryper. And he was like, you haven't heard Stryper? You have to. Hear Stryper. So I was at the age where I had to wait to save enough money with my allowance to buy, the Yellow and Black Attack on cassette. And that's another thing I remember when I heard, just being absolutely floored. And so I was at that point, I was out looking for everything I possibly could, because this passion inside of me for this music was born.
You mentioned Christian rock. Rock and roll has gotten a bad rap because some people don't think it's kosher. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Any music out there cannot be kosher. Country songs, you got country songs that are worse than some of the rock and roll songs. So it doesn't matter what genre of music it is. To me, it's the message behind the song.
Yeah.
Is there that message behind the song is what I think got in you and gave you that love for that rock and roll music.
Yeah, and like I said, are there some things that don't sit well with me when it comes to it? Yeah. Sometimes I find when I dig into a band, I should have put email coming in. When I instead of trying to judge a book by its cover,
mm-hmm.
when I dig into a band, be like, whoa, I never thought, for example, I never thought a band like you heard me mention in my last video, Disturbed,
mm-hmm.
would have some of the lyrical content they have where one song on their previous album to the one they have before the one they just released, but there's a song on there called The Light. And it talks about sometimes in your darkest, you have to go through the darkest times, but if you keep on pressing through those times, you will find the light.
Correct.
And, there are some Disturbed songs that talk about some pretty uncomfortable topics.
Yeah.
And I don't think those songs glorify what they're talking about. It's just showing it how terrible
those type of things
are. Yeah. And but then hearing a song like The Light, it's like, wow, that
blew you away.
Yeah. And I remember, and I mentioned this before, I remember when I heard that, I forget, somebody mentioned to me about, at that time, the new Stryper album was coming out, and I'm like, oh, what's it going to be called? And there's like, To Hell with the Devil. I remember thinking, that's the coolest album title I've ever heard in my life. That pushes the envelope just enough to where...
And back then, that was a big controversy in some areas of people's thoughts, because they thought it was, and they didn't listen to it. you could tell if you listened to the album, it was more Christian than a lot of people thought it was.
And now they come out with
And they came out the latest one.
the goddamn evil, yeah.
Right.
And it's like I remember when I first heard. I kind of took a step back when I first heard it. Then I saw the way it was written. It wasn't written like, the curse. It was a separated thing instead of the combined word it is with the curse, And then I thought about, I'm like, I bet you, I took it I'm like, I think I know the context where they're going with it, which happened to be the case. But,
and you did a video on that album, I think, didn't you?
yeah, I've done a few videos, like I've talked about it when I got the CD in, when I got the vinyl, I have it.
Well, Tim, this has been fun, and I thank you for the invite.
Yep. Yeah. And those of you that are listening and haven't subbed to me, if you like what you heard, give me a sub. Check out Doug Songer channel there for my uncle, and give him a like and sub as well. Everybody in the vinyl/music community, you have a good night and enjoy the music.